Welcome to another episode of Advertising Alpha. Today we're going over a pretty awesome company here, Alia, which is they specialize in pop-ups for Shopify stores. And Shaan here is founder of it. Shaan, do you want to just give me a quick background about who you are, what you do, and want to give a little bit more context on Alia?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm Sean Arora, co-founder and CEO of Alia. Started the company about 2 years ago out of college. Last year, and from this time having about 100K ARR to now being at 3.5 million, and from having about 100 clients to now having 1,400 clients. So seen a lot of cool growth. And what we do is pop-ups, right? Super simple. Online shopping. You go to a website, ask for your email in return for a reward. We do that. We are more sophisticated than what's currently out there, and we typically 2x the opt-ins that people see from Klaviyo or Attentive or other GSP pop-ups.
That's awesome. Yeah, that type of growth for a company like this is phenomenal. Props to that. That's awesome to
Thank
hear.
you. It's been good, yeah.
And I think, part of that explosive growth is really, the problem that you're solving here. So, I kind of wanted to give a little bit of context before we go into the demo and before we talk about some of the specific features that Alia offers, but it's, pop-ups are more than just capturing email, right? It's more than just, doing the simple setup plugin for a pop-up. Like there can be a lot more opportunities and features that a pop-up can provide and can also do a lot more to capture not only emails, but SMS. There can be stuff that where these pop-ups can convert people into quizzes. You get a lot more zero-party data from them. And it's something that I think a lot of people are just like, hey, we just need a pop-up. That seems to be the best practice.
Yeah.
What have you found to be kind of the key context here as to why you wanted to start this and what problem you're solving?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a great problem because, pretty much every single brand online has a problem. Like from the smallest brands to the largest brands in the world, every single one has a pop-up, right? So the market's pretty huge that we're going after here. But yeah, I think a lot of times these pop-ups are not really sophisticated. And if you can add like logic, use AI, have like good targeting segmentation, also collect some good zero-party data, like not only can you significantly increase your opt-in rate, but you can also just make for a better post-purchase journey too. So yeah, like the problem that we're solving is that every single brand has a pop-up. However, most of these pop-ups are pretty generic and there's a lot left to be desired from what's currently being done.
Yeah, 100%. So I guess if you wanted to talk about some of these key features, and we're going to walk through this in a demo, but what are some of the key kind of call outs that you guys are doing that is distinctly different, that is powerful?
Yeah, I think a big one is segmentation and targeting, right? Like how do you show the right pop-up to the right customers at the right time, right? And like how do you ensure that the pop-up is designed and looks correctly for the industry you're in, right? Like let's say you're a supplement brand, your pop-up shouldn't probably look the same as a fashion brand and vice versa. So, it's us figuring out, hey, how can we use the industry trends and knowledge to create the best converting pop-ups for a specific industry? Again, that comes down to segmentation. It comes down to targeting, design, when to show the pop-up. And each of those things, when you put them all together, become force multipliers and can make a pretty massive difference. I'll kind of show you how we look for one of our customers. It's called Tom's. They're pretty large brand. I think they actually might be public too. Yeah, like when we think about so we can go here, right? Yeah, and work with kind of cool brands like, Hostage Tape, Aviator Nation, Nike Strength is a customer, Tom is Mind Body Green. Anyways, a bunch of awesome customers. Breeze. So when we come here for Tom's, right? We see it's like, hey, what land on the site, you see this pop up, you've got an exclusive discount. Right. Number one, this copy here, putting in the copy of like, not just saying you've got 10% and you've got 15%. A/B testing the copy against each other, right? So how does this compare to you've got a custom discount or you've got a unique discount? How do these kind of tests compare to one another? And it's actually tests that our team runs. We also now have had AI to run these tests for our brands, which is super cool. But most of the time, we're running these tests for the brand, figuring out like what should be the copy here. When I answer men's, right, it's pretty cool. I actually, it says claim your exclusive discount, right? So I'm prompted to go ahead and do so. They just collect email, totally cool. You can collect both email and SMS in the UK store, they just want to collect email. That works. If I on submit, something cool happens here where I actually learn a bit about the brand and get rewarded for doing so. Now, not all of our brands kind of use this feature, of like it's like customer education after the customer's already opted in, right? Say half of our brands use it. Either way, we see super high conversion rates on the opt-in itself. And then after that, customers can go through this like educational, really educational flow for the reward itself. And as I go through this, I learn a bit more about the brand. They're pretty philanthropic, so it's something they really care about, which is awesome, and they want to highlight that to their customers. They even ask like, "Hey, what are you shopping for today?" So when I answer, I'm shopping for stylish trainers for him. Cool. I actually see content that reflects my answer. So I'll see like content about stylish trainers for him and like more information regarding that. And lastly, when I go ahead and claim my reward, I actually get taken to a specific landing page. So I'll get dropped into like this men's sneakers landing page where I can since I answer questions in a specific way, I'll be landed on a page that's most relevant to me.
Yeah, this is really interesting because you're doing two really powerful things here. One is you're building a relationship with the prospective customer by just educating them about the brand and doing a little bit more than the normal transactional pop-up you see, right? It's like submit your email, get 20% off. That's it. You're building that kind of education. And then I think the other thing that's super interesting is you're qualifying for intent, right? You're saying like, hey, what are you shopping for specifically? And you're getting that zero party data around that person's intent, which I think is super interesting as well.
Totally. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I think like, by even a simple thing of asking that question at the beginning of the pop-up, like not only leads to better conversion rates, but you just actually get some good zero-party data that you can then use for, segmentation and Klaviyo or attentive, whatever someone uses.
Okay, awesome. With these pop-ups, and you spoke to AI, you also spoke to A/B testing. Is there anything that unique that you guys are doing that's very different from your kind of traditional pop-ups, where AI is giving you a specific advantage, or the amount of A/B testing your team is doing is giving brands an advantage in terms of best practices on pop-ups or recommendations?
Yeah, for sure. So I think it's twofold, right? One is kind of using AI in the product, right? So how we think about it is smart triggers, which I think is actually super, super cool. Obviously, like at the end of the day, like you need to figure out what is the best time to show the pop-up and how can you get it to convert at the highest rate, right? So we actually have a way now, it's called smart triggering, where, let's say like, you can see in this kind of chart here, so, the pop-up comes up, it becomes ignored, it's ignored, and the customer takes a few actions. This is just the example actions, right? Like they look at the bestseller, they do these XYZ things, and then the pop-up reappears and they actually convert on that pop-up, right? So we have a model that tells us when to show the pop-up again based off previous customer feedback and built on itself, right?
Mm,
We work with, again, 1,400 brands. We get 100 million views a month of our pop-ups, meaning we get a ton of data
yeah,
and we can figure out, yes, the pop-up's been ignored for the first time, sure, but how can you show it again at the right time and really get that customer to convert? That's what we care about. And this thing, smart triggering, is something that really we only have as a pop-up tool, and it does make a massive difference. And it uses AI and it's proprietary, and like, yeah, it's essentially like dismiss pop-ups, aren't lost signups, timing engine. So yeah, all that stuff is super cool. And then I think a really big differentiator with us is like, how do we show the right pop-up to the right customer at the right time? Right. So like thinking about like targeting. So conditions here that are super helpful, right? If they're on specific pages or if they haven't visited pages, number of pages they viewed, number of sessions, like if we identify them through a cookie, UTM sources, device type, right? Like all of these things can be massive movers for our brands,
yeah,
as well as like Shopify markets and locales and countries, and understanding how they are in Klaviyo and bringing that data into Ollie. At the end of the
yeah.
day, it's like if you can segment your pop-up better, you can show it to the right customers and show those different customers different pop-ups. Like that's a huge value add. Currently, Klaviyo doesn't really have that kind of um, segmentation and complexity. We often will set this up for our customers since we kind of have best practices as to like how you should show your pop-ups. So we'll do this for the brands too. But yeah, that's like I think something super cool that we have. And the last thing, A/B testing, we love it. You can see this brand, Hostage State, pretty well known brand. Run a ton of
Yeah.
A/B tests for them, and it's something we care a lot about.
Yeah, that's great. I think what you said too about because your pop-ups are across so many brands and so many, big brands with a ton of traffic, you have so much testing, you have so much data that you've collected
Yes.
that you can train your AI on. And it's what I really like about that. And this is a challenge that I kind of bump into with some brands when brands are, you want to go with their strong opinions about what they think works, where you have all this data you've collected you've had AI analyze this and you know what to be best practices for pop-ups because of this, like that's such a distinct and massive advantage that you have over someone being like, I think our pop-up should do A, B, and C because of my kind of anecdotal opinion. Does that make sense?
That's kind of that's why we think of ourselves as like pop-up experts, right? Because we're like we have the data and like we know what works. So it's like, if you can work with us, and we have the insight and the data, like it's better than just putting up a random pop-up because oftentimes there's like certain best practices that are not super obvious, but we kind of hold that knowledge.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. I guess just quickly too, what types of brands should try this out and what stage of growth, it doesn't matter. I'm just curious about your kind of target, who you drive the most value for.
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think it actually kind of does matter a bit. I'd say brands who have above 15,000 sessions per month are good for pop-ups, like for a more sophisticated pop-up. I think if you have less than 15,000 sessions per month, the Klaviyo pop-up is good. That's the only stipulation. Besides that, we kind of work well for all kinds of brands, especially brands who care about email marketing. Like if you care about email marketing, you want to get pop-up. If you don't care about email marketing, you still want to get pop-up because one day I'm sure you will start to care and you want to have a good list, already made. The earlier you can do it, the better. But if you're below 15K, just kind of also where our pricing is at. We started at $100. Sometimes it just doesn't make sense for those brands, which is totally.
Awesome. Yeah, and I guess just kind of the last question I have for you. So do you want to talk through pricing, how to get started? And you guys have a really great guarantee and offer to get started. So, wanted to hear that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we do 30 days free and it truly is free. You can try it out for 29 days. If you're unhappy, you can uninstall and like there's no contracts. Cancel anytime. And yeah, we'll build a pop-up for you during that 30-day free trial period. So happy to discuss that. Typically we'll see a 2x increase. If you're using a pop-up from Klaviyo, Attentive, Omnisend, Postgres, any of the ESPs, Yotpo as well, we'll typically see a 2x increase in opt-ins during a 30-day free trial period. It's not like a guarantee, but it's what we expect to give to our clients. And oftentimes, I mean, pretty much most of the time, we're able to do that, and I feel confident we should be able to do that for pretty much all of our brands moving forward as our techs get.
Well, Sean, I really appreciate it. This is really interesting, really powerful. It's clear based on the growth you've had and the success you've had with brands. You're providing a ton of value here. So appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.